Welcome into episode 11 of Rangers Deep in the Heart. We go inside the Rangers organization through its players, their families, and the staff behind it. The show is brought to you by Justin, the official boot of the Texas Rangers. I'm Hannah Wing. It is so hard to believe we are already at our last episode of the 2024 regular season, but it's going to be a good one. I guarantee you that, because I am sitting next to third base coach Tony Beasley. Bees, appreciate the time.
Oh, it's my pleasure. I mean, I'm excited to be here.
I know your wife, Stacy, couldn't join us today, but how is she doing?
She's doing well. You know, she's home because she watches my grandbaby, so, you know, she couldn't be here at this time. But I'm sure she'll check it out and critique me.
Well, Stacy, if you're watching this, we miss you and wish you could be here with us. But, of course, she has to take care of sweet little Ella.
Yes.
What are some things that they like to do together?
Well, today they're doing nails. I mean,
nails?
Well, Ella's just a part of it, so Ella's getting to see, like, how to get spoiled and be a lady to get your nails done and stuff like that. So, but Ella, they like to take her to the botanical gardens and things like that, and because she loves being outside, so she loves walking around and anything that's amusing. They take her to, there's a AA baseball team in Richmond, the Flying Squirrels, and they'll go there a lot because she loves baseball. I mean, every time she sees me on FaceTime, if I have my cap on or my jersey, and she says, ball. So she just loves it. And so when she comes here, like, she sits there, I asked her, does she really watch the game? And they said, yeah. She sits there and she's like, yay, and she's clapping, you know, so she loves it. She really loves it.
And she's not even 2 years old yet, and her grandpa was a coach in the All-Star game. How about that? Yeah,
you know, for her, you know, she's done way more at 2 years old than it took me, like, 18 years to even get on a flight, and she's been flying all over the country and at Major League Baseball games and big time venues. So, you know, she loves it. She just eats it up, and she has no shyness about it whatsoever. She's a people's person, kind of like me, and but she really enjoyed being there for the All-Star game, and she was down on the field for the home run derby and things of that nature, and she was playing with the other kids, and she's had a blast.
Baseball certainly does run deep in the Beasley family.
Mm-hmm.
This is your 10th season with the
Yes.
Rangers organization. What would you say the biggest difference is from where we're at this point in this season compared to this time last year?
Yeah, this year's been challenging, you know, to say the least. And last year, obviously, but, you know, really last year at this particular time, we were kind of playing similar baseball. We kind of just slid into the playoffs and then got really, really hot once we got into the playoffs. But the beginning of the season last year was a different story. We were like 40-20. We started really hot, and then we kind of had some cushion to work with. This year we didn't have that, and so it's been a challenging year. But, you know, in a lot of different ways. You know, we've had a lot of injuries, but the bottom line is we haven't played as well as we like to play, and everyone's has shared some responsibility in that, and so we just want to finish strong. We're not going to just lay down and let the games play out. We want to finish these last 11 games really strong, and in our mindset, we want to go 11-0 and go into the offseason with some momentum.
Why is that important to finish the season so strong, especially if the team isn't contending?
Yeah, you know, I think this is a tougher scenario to play in when you're not really playing meaningful games. We're not really playing a lot of teams that we can play spoiler to as well. So, you know, this is a big time to really evaluate the character of your team and the makeup of the guys and the fight and determination they have to really finish the job. And so, you know, we have 162 games on the schedule, and we're obligated to play every last one of those games to the best of our ability. And that's what we're doing. You know, Boch is a competitor, and he's not going to let up as far as how he's going to manage a game or run a game. We know Chris Young is a competitor, our GM, and, you know, he wants to win. And we love that because winning is the standard that we want to set here. And so it's important that I call it pedal downhill. You know, we could easily just coast at this point, but champions don't coast. They pedal. And so we've got to pedal downhill.
What goals do you specifically look for night in and night out?
Yeah. Well, you want to see, really, you just want to see the level of, I guess you say, intensity that we play with. because a lot of players are being evaluated, coaches are being evaluated. Our jobs are never guaranteed, no matter what your contract says. We work year to year, and our specific areas of instruction, we want guys to do well. We want guys to finish strong. There's still some personal goals out there that some guys may want to achieve, but whatever it is that motivates you at this time of the year and in this situation that we're in, you got to find that and make sure that you just go hard every day, and you show up every day expecting to win the ball game. And it's a tough scenario, but we can't even think about that. No, we just got to show up, do our work, prepare ourselves, and have good energy and play the game of baseball the way we expect it to be played as a staff. Players have a standard to play it that they expect from each other as well, and our fan base deserves it. They've been supportive of us all year long, and this has been a tough season, but our fan base has been tremendous. They've shown up, and even when we haven't played well. So it's been pretty much a packed house here all year long, and so they deserve our best effort, and they deserve us to go out there and play a great brand of baseball, and so that's what we intend to do.
As a coach, Bees, what has been the most challenging thing for you this season?
Mm-hmm. Well, just all the losing. We let a lot of games slip. Early on, we were pitching really well. We didn't get much offense going. And so it's been tough to see a lot of guys struggle that are kind of better than they performed this year. And so trying to find ways to get the most out of guys when they're going through tough times, it can be challenging. And but those are the things that make it difficult because you see the disappointment in their faces. And baseball is a weird game because you get like evaluated based on your performance. Based on that's how people recognize you based on that, and so that becomes your identity, whether you're a good or bad person almost in a lot of people's eyes. And so you want guys to be able to deal with failure and bounce back from failure and just keep pressing forward. So it's been a challenge to maintain that positive environment that we need to really push guys at times. But you got to have tough conversations with certain guys at times and just try to get them to the next level of play. And just I say sometimes it's not who you are that holds you back. It's who you think you're not. And a lot of times we think that we can't do something, or we can't be the guy that gets the job done, or we cheer for other people. It's like, well, why not me? So to get everybody to understand that each individual can do something special and make a difference, and that's the challenge that from a coach anyhow that we have.
Let's say there's a young player coming in the Rangers clubhouse about to make their debut, like a Kumar Rocker, a Jack Leiter, who both have really proved what they're capable of doing on the mound in a very short amount of time. When they come in the clubhouse on day one, what are your conversations with them?
Yeah. You know what? Me personally, I just kind of want to really get to know the guy, and I think just connect with them on a personal level first, and we kind of have a feel for what they can do baseball-wise, but what do you like outside of baseball? What's your family dynamic? And just get to know just some small talk and get to know that individual personally, and then try to ease into just getting them comfort as far as when they go out there and what to expect, the emotion of the game, and not to try to get too high, just to go out and play the game and enjoy it and embrace the moment that they've worked so hard to get to, and you finally get to that moment where you're a Major League Baseball player. Just enjoy it and embrace it. And so you just try to calm them as much as you can and make them welcome.
Something I've always loved and admired about you is how much you care and love others. I don't think there's been a day in the clubhouse that I've seen you and you have not given me a hug. What do you hope to bring to the Rangers clubhouse each and every day? I mean, it is a long season.
Yeah, it is. And, we see each other every day, players and coaches, and it can make for a tough environment at times because it's not always peaches and cream. There are times where it's just rough, and people are struggling, and you have things outside of baseball. You have things at home. You have a lot of things that could be going on because when it's all said and done, we're human, and we deal with human issues. And so I just feel like for me, it's important that I be a positive influence every day to try to just bring some light on the scenario. And I think, the way you get the most out of people is you allow them to just be themselves and be comfortable and feel good about who they are. And obviously there are times you got to challenge people in tougher ways, but just from a greeting standpoint, I was just raised to acknowledge people, and I can't walk past people and not say hello or give a hug, and you never know what people are in need of, and we're human and we're dealing with things, and I just think it's important to let people know that they are somebody special and that they mean something and that their life is valuable. And so I just think that who knows who needs a hug today. And I didn't ask anyone personally what's going on in their life, but, a smile makes a difference. A hug makes a difference. And just to be a pleasant greeting, it makes a difference in someone's life. And so I don't ever want to be that person that takes things out of you. I want to be the person that gives and brings things to you.
As we start to put a bow on the 2024 season, what do you think the biggest lesson you've learned that you'll take with you into 2025?
Just, never take anything for granted. Last year things kind of worked out for us. And I don't know that we did take anything for granted this year, but it's just not automatic. And it's not going to just happen. You just gotta keep getting after it and keep preparing and keep focused on how can we get better? What can I do better? Just self-reflection, self-evaluation. You're not beating yourself up, but there's always room to improve, and try to always have a growth mindset and just look at yourself and be real with yourself and say, did I do the very best that I could have done today, and what could I do different? Did I take advantage of the opportunities that were in front of me to have a conversation that I needed to have, and did I waste that or what have you? So you just kind of just break the whole day down and see, what I could have done and I didn't do, and try to learn from those things. And this season, I think, has shown us that, we've got to be cognizant of the work that it takes, the preparation that it takes, the accountability that it takes, to be the very best, and then to come back and do that again. We won a World Series, but no one's repeated in like 20 some years, and so it's a very difficult task. And so we've got to learn that you got to come back and get right back at it, and forget about the things that you've done and focus on what you want to do.
2025 is the third and final year on Bruce Bochy's contract. As a leader of this coaching staff and working with him every day, how would you describe Boch to our listeners of the show?
You could use a plethora of words to describe Boch, but you know what? I think one thing about him, like, he's very intense. He's driven. He's motivated to win. He holds you accountable. He's tough. He's like everything in one. Like he doesn't. I think that's what I like about him, because he's not just one thing, and whatever the situation requires, and he can ring the bell, and so I think just his tenacity in game, his willingness to stand firm on his convictions. He manages every game like it's Game 7 of the World Series. He wants to win every single game, and I love that about him. He's been there and done that 4 times now, and so just being around him every day is fun. He knows there's a time and a place for everything. You can go in and laugh and joke with him and sit down and talk baseball with him, and he'll joke you. Like yesterday, I played in the golf tournament 2 days ago, and I get in yesterday, and he knew the group that I played with, and he's talking about I didn't play very well. One of the guys was telling him, and I'm taking him very seriously, and I'm like, well, yeah, this guy didn't play that well himself. Well, then he's like, well, I'm just joking. I didn't meet him. So he went to Tani and got the names of the individuals in my group.
Oh, my gosh.
And he was just pranking me when I got to the ballpark. And, he could have played that out. I would have never known. But I'm like, well, how would he know who I played golf with?
Exactly.
So, he took the time to do that. And then when I come in, he pranks me like that. So, it's just things like that, that's he's funny with. But it took time and effort to do that. And so, that just lets you know that he cares as well. And so I love being around him. I'm very thankful that he's here, and obviously he's done quite a bit for the organization already, and I know next year is the last year in his contract, but hopefully he reconsiders that as well.
Prior to Bochy's hiring, you were thrust in as the interim manager back in 2022. What made you still want to come back to the Rangers organization at third base?
After Boch was hired, or
Yes.
Well, you know what? I never had any intention of not being a Ranger. Obviously, I was interim manager. That was not something that I had anything to do with. It was an unfortunate scenario with Chris Woodward, and I just finished the season for the last 48 games. And yes, after that, I interviewed for the manager's job. But you know what? If I don't get that job to Bruce Bochy, then I'm okay with that. And I told Chris Young that when he called me after he decided he was going to hire Boch. He called me right away, and he let me know what was going on, and he was hoping that I would stay with the organization. And I had no intention of leaving the organization. I knew Chris Young from way back in 2002. I was his first manager in professional baseball.
Wow, I didn't know that.
Yeah, in Hickory, North Carolina. He played for me, and so we go way back. Obviously, I want to see CY do well and succeed, and anything that I could do to be a part of that success, then I'm on board. I've never approached this game as I've got to be at a certain position or have an ego about anything. I want us to win, and Bruce Bochy was a great hire, and he was a win now manager, and that's what we needed.
When it comes to Chris Young, he was just extended to a multi-year deal. Of course, like you just mentioned, the two of you go way back.
Yes.
But what does he bring to this organization, specifically the coaching staff?
Yeah, well, he brings accountability. He brings a winning attitude, and he accepts nothing less than winning, and that I really love that about him, because he's going to drive hard to get us the best players and give us the best opportunity to win. And that's what you show up for. That's why we spend all the hours at the clubhouse. We spend all the months away from home. I leave home in February. I don't get back to October, and hopefully November will be the trend as it was last year. But the reason you do all these things is to win. And it's at this point in my career. This is my 14th year in the major leagues, 35th year in baseball. It's not about just having a job anymore. It's about winning, and so Chris Young, he brings that. He pushes everybody in his organization to be better, and he wants Ray to give him as much assets as possible so that we can get as many great players as possible in that clubhouse and give us the opportunity to win another championship. And I don't know what more you could ask for.
When you were managing CY in the early 2000s, would you ever have imagined being in this position one day, decades later?
No, I didn't know that he'd be my boss. I told him
the tides have turned.
I told him when he got hired. I said, "How did I go to being in charge of you to you being in charge of me?" He started laughing. But you know what? I'm not surprised because he's always been a competitor. He's always been dedicated to his craft, and obviously he could do anything he wanted outside of baseball. He could work in any area whatsoever because he's very intelligent and bright. But the tenacity that he has as a player, he still has that. As a GM and as he's like president of baseball operations now, and but he's driven, and he was always driven, and so that's just how he's wired. That's who he is, and he wants us to be successful, and so I'm not surprised at all that he's doing what he's doing right now.
Nothing says positivity more than a conversation with Tony Beasley. So before we wrap up our conversation about baseball and before we talk about your journey with cancer and your family and your faith, what was your favorite memory from the 2024 season?
Yeah, I've got to say Jankowski's catch. I mean that's just one of the plays that you don't ever see, and you just don't see. I mean, and it was an ooh-ah moment because the game would have been over, and all of a sudden, we win in the ball game. So, that's probably one of the best plays I've ever seen. I think there was in college, I had outfielder Brian Lancaster, one of my college teammates. He made a play similar against Spartanburg Methodist that allowed us to win the regional and go to the JUCO World Series, which he made a catch in left field as well. But he got hung on the fence, and you couldn't see what was going on behind. And we went out and got him off, and he had the ball in his glove. And that sent Spartanburg home and sent us to the JUCO World Series. But what Jankowski did was tremendous, and that's one of my favorite moments this year. Just, we've had a tough season, so we haven't had a ton of great moments, but that was my favorite moment this year.
That was a great moment.
Yeah.
Well, Bees, we'll talk about all that and more on the other side of break, so don't go anywhere.
All right.
Justin is proud to serve as both the official boot of the Texas Rangers and the presenting partner of the Rangers Deep in the Heart podcast. Join the winning team and embrace the spirit of Texas by stepping into a new pair of Justin boots today. Crafted for fans who demand nothing but the best, Justin boots are the perfect blend of style and comfort. Walk like a champion and shop now at justinboots.com. Justin, standard of the West since 1879. In Bees, I dropped the ball. We should have recorded this on a Tuesday in celebration of Tony Tuesday. But how did Tony Tuesday start?
I've never been a social media person, and my cousin lives in D.C. and he had been bugging me for 2 years. Let me get you on social media. I'll kind of run it for you. And I was like, no, I don't want any parts of social media. And the reason I really didn't want to do it anyhow, but to really magnify that is because of my position as a third base coach. If I'm on social media, all I'm going to get people just, oh, you should have sent this guy. Why did you send that guy? So I didn't want to deal with that.
Fair.
I didn't want to have to deal with that stuff. So I was like, I don't want to fool with it. So he just kept on and on. I said, okay, dude, just open up a page. I knew nothing about social media. And so he was just posting stuff and putting pictures, and then people were starting to get in touch with me, and it's like, well, I friended you or something and you didn't respond or something. And I said, oh, I'm not really running it. Mm-hmm. And so I told him, I said, okay, if I'm going to be on social media, because he showed me some of the stuff, I said, okay, this is reflective of me, but not wholeheartedly. I say, if it's going to be representative of me, then I have to do something personally. And I said, what can I do? And then the Tony Tuesday, I said, well, on Tuesdays I'll just start writing up something inspirational once a week. And I don't know if it was him or me that said Tuesday was the day, and it was like, yeah, we're Tony Tuesdays. We could have done Tony Thursday too, but Tuesday
blends a lot better.
It had a better ring to it. So we say Tony Tuesdays. So I said every Tuesday I will send you a quote or something inspirational, and just post it. And so I started that, and I don't know how many I have total now, but I have them all on my phone from the first one and until yesterday's. And so, yeah, I just felt like I wanted to put something out that positive, a positive vibe, and something to inspire people and uplift people. And because, like I said, you never know what people are going through or what have you. And the weird thing is, we were in Oakland, and one of the ladies that work at the stadium, I always say hi to her when we go in. And last year, she pulled me aside and she said, I want to thank you for the Tony Tuesdays. And I said, well, you're welcome. And she said, no, you don't have any idea. I was really going through some stuff in my life, and they really lifted me and helped me get through a really tough time in my life. And so I get there a lot. Other stadiums, I'll get fans that say Tony Tuesday, and they'll, things like that. So I'm hopeful that it is having an impact and touching people's lives, because that's what it's all about.
What impact do you hope that Tony Tuesdays have on Rangers fans and just baseball fans and beyond? Yeah,
it's most of them are kind of just perspective, and their life things, because everybody's dealing with something, and just give us a different way to look at it. Because I've dealt with adversity in my life, and it changed my perspective when I had to deal with something tough, and I'm sure we'll get to that shortly. But through that, I feel like I want to challenge people to find a bright spot in darkness, because no matter how dim a situation looks, there's always something bright that can come out of it. And I just feel like it's always not the thing, it's how we perceive the thing. And that can make the difference.
That's beautifully said. And to all of you watching and listening at home, we'll make sure to link Tony's social handles down below so you can tune in to Tony Tuesdays if you are not already.
I don't even know him.
No, I figured you didn't. We'll have to get your cousin on next year and they can talk about the back end. But we'll make sure to link those down below so you can follow along, because Tony Tuesday is definitely the best day of the week. And going off of something that you said was that adversity and that perspective. Yes. In 2016, you had a battle with cancer. How did that strengthen your faith and perspective even more?
Tremendously. First of all, I never in my wildest dream could imagine that I would have ever dealt with cancer. So like, there are things in life that we kind of think we're just exempt from, or it's not going to happen to me. And, we kind of go through life and a lot of times thinking we're invincible. And I was 49 at the time. And in 2015, after the season, I was very tired. And I know we went to the playoffs and stuff, and it was the Texas heat. So I just kind of felt like, it's just the environment and the season. And my wife said when I got home, she said, you've lost some weight. I haven't lost no weight. You see yourself every day. You don't recognize things. And she said, no, you've lost weight. But I was having some issues. I was having some issues and bowel movement changes, and I was having some pain. Like it felt like a sciatic nerve on my right side. And I developed some hemorrhoids that just would not go away. I'd never had them in my life, and so it's just weird. And I couldn't sleep. I was hurting, and so I just finally went to the doctor. I got checked, and the doctor, this was in January, so the doctor said, "Come back. Let's just do a colonoscopy and just see what's going on." He said, "Yeah, you have some hemorrhoids, and maybe we'll have to check that out and just take care of those." Well, when he went in, he found a tumor. And he said, I don't know for sure, but I'm pretty sure it's cancerous. He said, from my experience. And it was like the first week of January. It's like, you would think it was like a ton of bricks, but it actually was not. It was to my wife. It was definitely to my son. The toughest thing I had to do was call my son, who was at Hardin Simmons in Abilene at the time, and tell him that I'd been diagnosed with cancer. And, his coach went and got him, and just Simmons' coach, and he just destroyed. And because in his mind, he was thinking, I got a year left with my dad. That's just what cancer does. It makes people fear. And I never feared. I never doubted. My favorite biblical verse is 2 Corinthians 5:7. For we walk by faith and not by sight. And I had an awesome opportunity to actually live that out, and to be like who I said I am. And I profess that verse. I've been asking God to increase my territory and give me a bigger platform to glorify Him. Well, a lot of times you don't know how things are going to transpire. And so my wife was really upset, and I never lost one night's sleep over it. I didn't. I just prayed about it, and I claimed healing over it, and I just walked in faith and just trusted God, and I had a great support group. The Texas Rangers were unbelievable through that time. The fan base was reaching out and telling how much they were praying for me, and they cared for me. The ownership group was second to none. Like Ray Davis and Neil, they sent their planes to, first they got me in MD Anderson in Houston, they demanded that, and they sent their private planes to Virginia, flew my wife and I back and forth for treatments and meetings and checkups, and they invested in me. The team was unbelievable. Adrian Beltre and the rest of the crew they were behind me 100%, and obviously my family. So it's just, I had an unbelievable support group. I never thought that I would deal with something like that, but cancer to me was not an obstacle. It was an absolute opportunity to be who I said I am. And I say that because, when everyone's life is awesome and great and things are just falling into place, we can just praise God and be happy and, say all the nice verses and cliches. But a lot of times when we're hit with a storm, we change our tune. And I'm very thankful that I didn't change my tune. And I never asked God why me, or was never angry. I said, why not me? And I said, Lord, I want to find out how can I glorify you in the midst of this? You know, how can I honor you in this? And I was almost at stage 4 cancer. I was stage 3C, and one more step from stage 4. And so it was a very serious cancer that I was dealing with, and a very serious disease that could have very easily took my life. But I was not afraid of that. I didn't fear that. I said, if I die, then I'm coming to be with the Lord. If I live, then I'll be here and keep glorifying God. And so I had a perspective, and I'm glad that I was faithful enough to walk in faith and have joy and peace. When I went through chemo, I always, was going to be positive in the chemo room, which was I shared with probably 18 to 20 others. And I never wanted them to see me down or out. I wanted them to see someone in that room that had hope and had joy and had peace that could lift them up. My nurses and my doctors were always like telling me that I made a difference when I walked in a room. And I wasn't doing it for glory or praise. I was doing it because I wanted to lift people up. And I wasn't worried about what I was going to have to deal with or go through. But God delivered me from cancer. I'm cancer-free. I've been cancer-free now for 6 years, and because I don't have any more checkups or any more visits to scans or nothing. So I'm very thankful and blessed. And God showed up in that scenario, and He made it evident that it was by His grace and by His healing hand that I'm sitting here talking to you today. And because the tumor that was in my body, through all the chemotherapy, all the radiation that I did, okay, I was done with that, and I was to go in and have surgery on Monday, and this is a Friday, so I went to have scans just to see the nature of the tumor and what the effects of treatment had done. Well, when my doctor, Dr. George Chain, when he checked me, the tumor was the same as when I first started the journey. Nothing had changed, and he didn't know that he could perform the surgery, and I didn't doubt. I said, you'll perform it, don't worry about it. So I went home that Friday night, and I prayed, my wife and I prayed, and I said, God, I've claimed victory over this. I claimed healing in April, and this was in August. And I said, chemotherapy, radiation did nothing. The treatments did nothing. I've done everything medically that's been asked of me. I said, now it's time for you to show up and show out and do what only you can. I said, Monday, I just believe that the doctors are going to be amazed by what they see, and they're going to have to give you the glory in the name of Jesus. Amen. And Monday morning when I went in and I did a robotic pectonomy, that was the type of surgery that I did, and they put a robot inside of my body and targeted the area which the tumor was, and the tumor was not there.
Wow.
It was not there. And so he said the tumor is gone. He updated my wife. I was 7.5 hours in surgery. I knew none of this until later. And he said it's just scar tissue. And he was amazed. And he cleaned up the margins and reconnected me, and everything was good. And he called me like a year later, because I still keep in touch with my doctor today. He travels abroad. And he said, can I use your story as I travel abroad? I said, please do. And I said, but make sure you tell the whole story. And I just think God is receiving glory from that. And that's what I want, Him to receive glory. It's not about me. But through that experience, I've been able to inspire and impact people's lives, and especially those who are going through treatments and cancers, and just give them some type of perspective as they're going through chemo and radiation, because it can beat you up. It can just wear you out and make you downtrodden and infiltrate your mind. And once you get a negative thought in your mind or negative feeling, then cancer can take a hold and have victory over you. So I'm thankful for that opportunity. I'm really thankful. I mean, 2016, you could say was the worst year of my life. It's probably the best year of my life.
Wow.
And that doesn't sound, it sounds probably crazy, but probably the best year of my life in many ways, because it showed me things that I never could have known about myself, about people, about my faith, and about those around me and my support group. So I'm very thankful.
I recently had Nathaniel Lowe on the last episode
Yes.
of the show, And we talked a lot about his mother, Wendy's cancer diagnosis. And he mentioned you and how your story has helped their family tremendously. So what do you hope sharing your story accomplishes when you're meeting with players or fellow coaches or even Rangers fans that are dealing with a similar struggle?
Yeah, it's just that you don't have to succumb, to things that happen to you. They don't have to overtake you. They don't have to have victory over you, no matter what it is. It doesn't have to be cancer. It can be anything that you're dealing with, any type of hardship that you don't welcome into your life. Don't accept it, and don't give in to it. I just think you can, God's word has a lot of promises in it, and his thing is that I know the plans that I have for you, says the Lord, plans to prosper you and not to harm you, plans to give you hope and the future. And I think that's Jeremiah, 29:11, I think. But anyhow, that's we have to stand on God's promises. I'm a Christian, and I unapologetically a Christian, and because one day, no matter who we think we are, we're going to stand before God and give an account. And no matter what we think of ourselves, I think when we stand before God, we're going to tremble in fear. And I want to be able to stand before him and hope that to hear him say, you've lived a life that's pleasing to me, and that you've tried to do the very best that you can to lead people to me, and that you've done great as far as how you've dealt with people and the love that you've given. I don't think he's going to ask me about how good of a third base coach I was, or none of that thing. I don't think that matters in the grand scheme of things. That's my personal stuff that I need to be good at. But as far as who I am as a man, and what I do to affect humanity, I've got to make sure that I lift up the name of Jesus. And so that's what's important to me. And I hope that when I have situations like Wendy Lowe, that I could call and talk to. I talked to his dad first, and I've talked to Wendy Lowe, and I've helped them with some alternative type treatment that has really been effective. And so when I get the report that she's doing well, I get so excited about that. And then I'm just thankful that these are ways that I've been able to take the scenarios of my life that seem to be things that have been tough, and turn them around. You just turn something around, and that's negative into a positive, and you can impact people in great ways.
This organization poured so much into you when you were going through your cancer journey, and now you can pour the same love and encouragement into others, which is such a beautiful thing. I do want to talk to you about Adrian Beltre and how he was really there for you during your cancer journey. We spoke about this a few weeks back in an interview that we did, but I just love the story, and I would love for you to retell how instrumental Adrian was throughout your cancer journey.
Yeah, I mean, he was tremendous, and obviously he was the leader of the clubhouse and leader of the team. But all of those guys were unbelievable. Elvis, Princefield, and Mitch Moreland, like everyone in that clubhouse was tremendously supportive. But Adrian made sure that I everything was taken care of. I mean, the first thing he did was, when I had to go to radiation, I was gone for 6 weeks, because I had to do 6 weeks of radiation in Houston, so I had to be away from the team. And so the first thing he did was made sure that I had no financial burdens whatsoever. Got with the whole team and made sure everything was taken care of. And then he called me into Banny's office and sit down, and he said, "Hey, I wish I could make it go away, but I can't." He said, "But what we can do is help you financially, because I know you got to be at a hotel for 6 weeks. You got to have food. My wife's going to be there." And so he said, "I don't want you to think about anything else. I just want you to focus on your treatment that you have to take." And, they took care of all of my expenses, which was unbelievably grateful for that, and because he didn't have to do that. And then the thing that he did at the end was, I didn't make the trip to Oakland. I think it was a 2-game set. I was doing post chemo, and so Banny said, "Just stay back. You just had treatment. I don't want you to have to travel across the country and back." So I stayed back, and they clinched the playoff berth in the end of the season in 2016. And I'm just sitting alone watching the game, and the game ended. They won. I was like, "Yeah, I'm just happy," but I'm just alone. I'm not really celebrating. I'm just happy for them. The team has won. They're going to the playoffs. And then my phone rings, and it's Brandon Boyd's number. I said, "What's Brandon want?" It's a FaceTime.
Oh.
And so I answer it, and it's Adrian with the phone up, and I think there's a photo of it somewhere. You can see my picture in the phone. It's Adrian, and the whole team's behind him. And before they celebrated, before they popped one bottle of champagne or did anything as a team in a celebratory manner, he acknowledged me. He said, a big part of why we're here is you. You've inspired us all year, and we love you, and we just want to let you know that you're a big part of this. I mean, who does that? I mean, why was I even a thought in that moment? Because they had just achieved something tremendous, to get into the playoff berth. And guys are usually going nuts, and as you saw last year. Like, you don't really have singular thoughts at that time. But for him to get in and say, Beasley's not here, we're going to make sure that we make him a part of this, that's special. And people just don't do things like that. And so that's always going to be one of my favorite moments in the history of my career in baseball. That team in 2016, they thought that much of me to not exclude me of that moment. And I'll never forget that.
What emotions do you remember feeling when you were on that FaceTime?
Well, first of all, I was just in awe. I was in shock because I just couldn't believe that this was just happening. And when I hung up, I was just sitting there just pondering, like what kind of man is this who thinks like that? And so I was just taken away. And it was very emotional for me. And I sat there and I kind of shared a little tear and just, I don't know, it's just, you just felt the love and that's why I say that journey in 2016, it's probably the best year of my life because I learned so much about people and love and care and just things I could have never experienced.
It's bigger than baseball.
Yes.
And something else that was bigger than baseball recently was James, who was the Make-A-Wish kid. They wanted to be a Texas Ranger for a day, and you were his buddy, taking him around to the Rangers clubhouse, batting practice, the whole 9 yards. What was your favorite memory from that day?
Well, first of all, I didn't know. I knew James he came as a Make-A-Wish, and I was to host him. But I didn't know all the intricate details about what he had been through and what have you. So I met him out on the field, and I was talking to him and his parents and his friends. And I was like, wow, he was such a great kid. He's had a lot of energy and was full of life. And so I didn't know the scenario. And then, I didn't want to ask neither. But then I was like, I got to find out. Like, what's he really dealing with? And his dad, I asked his dad. I said, what's James really dealing with? And his dad told me, he had an issue when he was born with, not a full functioning heart, and they didn't know that he was going to make it, so he had open heart surgery as an infant. Then he had open heart surgery again, and at 7 years old, he had open heart surgery for the third time. He's 9 years old now, but they felt like the last surgery took well, and he was doing well. And so, first of all, just the fact that a 9-year-old's had 3 open heart surgeries, and he survived them, and he's doing well. But his perspective on life was just amazing. So when I spent time with him, I think the best moment was when he didn't know that he was going into the clubhouse, and he loved Corey Seager, he loved Adolis Garcia. Tyler Molly was his neighbor. He didn't know it until he got in the clubhouse.
Really?
Yeah. And he got in the clubhouse. We're walking in. He's like, where am I going? And I said, just come on. So we walked around. He walked into the open. He's like, oh, my God. He's like so excited. He's like, I don't believe this is happening. And then we walk over, and Corey Seager and a couple of guys were playing cards. So he went over, and he, Seager talked to him, and all the guys greeted him well. And so then he had a locker over there. He didn't know he had a locker. So I said, I got to show you something else. Look over there. He's like, man, I don't believe this. Oh, my God. He's had his own locker, and, Brandon Boyd had set him up with everything with his jersey. He put his jersey on. And just to see the joy, that we were able to bring to this kid's life, it's priceless. It's really just priceless. And that's why I say it's just way bigger than just the game. There are a lot of things that we do that really impact people's lives in a tremendous way. I don't think James will ever forget, his trip here and his visit in the clubhouse. He met Adolis. They all signed stuff for him, and then he looked over and he said, "Tyler Molly." He said he was my neighbor. I was really so we hunted him down, and he goes, "Do you remember me?" And Molly did. He remembered him playing out with his and the kids in the yard and stuff, and so they talked for a minute. He met Kirby Yates. He wanted to meet Kirby Yates, and then he wanted to meet Jose Leclerc. We couldn't find him. We went all over the clubhouse.
We'll have to come back another day.
Yeah,
we can make that one happen.
Come back, but he got a big gift bag and he had a lot of stuff, and he was getting everything signed, and he was just excited. And he went back outside, and oh man, he was like bragging to his parents and his friends, and he said they're gonna be so jealous, but he was so excited about it, and his mom was so thankful that we were able to do that for him, and so that's the stuff that you just you don't forget these things, and I hope that James grows up and have a really long life, and we believe that he's gonna. But I'm thankful that the Rangers took the time to recognize him and give him the thing that meant the most to him in that moment, and really lift his spirits, because that's what it takes to get over hurdles in your life.
And Bees, I know another big topic and theme in the Rangers clubhouse, and you've touched on it as well, is faith. I've had Josh Young on the show. I've had Cody and Maddie Bradford on the show, and we had great conversations around their faith. So as a coach and member of the Rangers clubhouse and staff, how do you see faith hold true and really bring the team together?
I think, we have a large group of guys that are believers, and I think it makes a big difference, because I think your perspective on things, you're able to kind of put things into context. And I think the misconception is that guys of faith are soft and that we're not warriors. Well, if you read the Bible, then God's a warrior. There's nothing soft about it. And so I just the support group, I think, guys that maybe don't profess faith, but I think everybody kind of profess the belief in God. They have comfort as well about having a lot of guys that believe in their midst, because there are times when they come to us for certain things and certain scenarios that are going on in their life, and some guys just may want to talk about something, and they feel comfortable confiding in a Christian, and because they believe that we have a better perspective and a higher calling over whatever that scenario is. And so I just think it's important. I love the fact that we have guys that love the Lord and that are not ashamed of that. I think that there's favor to be found in that. There's blessings over that everyone benefits from. And I don't think that we should be ashamed of that. It's amazing how any other thing or that we throw out there, it's accepted, and a lot of times we think Christians should tiptoe around and not say Jesus, and you say Jesus, people cringe, like, why? Like, at the end, I think we all want to be known for being connected to our Creator, and I love the fact that we have a strong group of Christians and believers, and we don't try to push anything on anybody. Just live your life and be an example and let people see Christ in you, and they'll want some of that.
Why is it so important to you, Bees, to be a faith-based mentor in the Rangers clubhouse?
It's just who I am, and I have to be true to who I am. I don't want to be hypocritical. I don't want to be something that I'm not. If I came in and I don't curse and do certain things, I just don't do it, because I don't think it represents God well. And if I said I'm a Christian and I want you to see Christ in me, then there's a certain standard, a certain act that should come along with that, because otherwise I turn you away from the faith. And like I said before, we're all going to stand before God one day, and we're going to give account for people that we've turned away from his as well by our actions and things that we said or didn't say, or how we said certain things, or how we responded in certain scenarios, or what we did in certain situations that people were watching, and they knew that, well, this guy was professing Christ, and that's the way he's acting, and I don't want any part of that, and I don't want that on me. So whatever comes along with me being persecuted for being a Christian, I welcome it wholeheartedly, because I'd rather be persecuted for being a Christian than just being accepted for being hypocritical.
You have a big heart and a big voice. Let's talk about singing for a second. Where did you learn to sing? You have the most beautiful voice I have ever heard.
Thank you. Well, I was raised in the church, and I started singing in the church choirs at a young age. But really, there was this lady. She used to do theme music for Paramount pictures, movies, and she's from my area. And she was a part of. We was in this mass choir, and we were going to do a mass concert for the whole community. And so all the churches kind of got together, the choirs of the churches, and I was just a part of it. But I was one of the younger choir members, and I was singing tenor just in the background. And then there was a certain song, I don't remember the song. She wanted someone to lead the song, and she said, I want you to try this. I was singing in front of people, not solo. And so I did, and she started calling me Mockingbird. That's what she used to call me. And her name was Miss Davis, and she's passed now. But she pushed me to get in front of the crowd and sing. And she would like coach me along as I was singing. She said, "Sing, Mockingbird, sing." Like she just, and like but she was really good. But she got me over the fear of singing in front of people with the mic. And so ever since then, I've just been leading songs and singing in a lot of choirs, and I sing in one choir called the Heavenly Bound Mass Choir. We traveled and sung, and I just love it. I love singing. It fills me. It just gives me a peace and joy. I love singing. I still sing when I get home. I was talking to my nephew 2 days ago. He said, "So you may be home by first Sunday." Which the men's choir sings, so you'll be ready to sing. And so I love singing. It's just a part of my family. A lot of my brothers and sisters sing, and my dad used to sing, and so I just love it.
And you've performed the national anthem at Globe Life Field, Globe Life Park,
Yes,
PNC Park.
Yeah, and PNC.
Any ones that I'm missing? Why do you love doing the anthem? It's a hard song. I mean, I could never do it, so I respect it.
Yeah, everybody says it's a hard song, and I don't think it as a hard song. But you're right. I mean, I was talking to Bart from Mercy Me. Like he's an unbelievable talent, and he said it's a really hard song to sing. And so yeah, I've had a lot of like really renowned singers, artists that say it's a really hard song to sing, but I don't view it as a hard song to sing. I don't know why, but I don't know. I enjoy singing, so when I'm asked to sing, I just say yes and just go do it.
How does that work? So, for example, you most recently sang the anthem in May. Did the Rangers come to you? Like, how does that process come to be?
Yeah, I was asked. Ray and Neil actually in spring training one morning at breakfast. They said, "Ray's like, when are you going to sing the anthem again?" I said, "I don't know, whenever I'm asked." And he said, "Well, let's see if we can get that done this year." And so Neil knew the schedule of the anthem, and I think he texted Chuck, and Chuck knew what dates were open. And he said, "Just send me the open dates and choose one." And so they sent me the dates. And I said, "Okay, let's do this one." And that's how we did it.
So beautifully done. Okay, Bees, let's say we're wrapping up the podcast and we don't have a game tonight, hypothetically, and we're going to a karaoke bar. What songs are you singing?
I'm going to sing All of Me by John Legend.
Such a good one.
Yeah. I'm probably going to sing something from Luther Vandross, like A House Is Not a Home. What else am I going to sing? I might sing a little bit of Michael Jackson, Gone Too Soon. I like that song. It's kind of mellow. So,
Are there any other talented singers, either in the Rangers clubhouse or on the coaching staff?
I'm not sure who else sings down there. Coaching staff, no. players, I don't know. You'd be surprised. Players, there's some guys with some hidden talents. I think Josh Young actually sings decent.
Really?
Yeah, I've heard him sing a little bit of a country song. I thought it was Corey Seager because they were in the whirlpool. We got it early one day, and they were in doing the hot cold tub, and so they had country music playing. And I just walked into the training room, and there was this country song, and then I heard someone sing along. It's really high part. I was like, Seager? So I said, Six, is that you singing, dude? I heard in there. Later, when he said, that wasn't me. He said, no. He said, I think that was probably Josh Young because he sings along a lot. He said, don't tell him.
Well, now we're going to know,
his head to get blown up, but I'm
going to have to circle back with him.
Check
That's
with
amazing.
him because I heard.
That is awesome.
I just heard a little bit, but what I heard sounded good.
Oh, I believe it. I could totally see
music.
him like in another life being a country singer in Nashville, doing all the things. That's awesome. I'm going to circle back with him. I'm glad that you mentioned that. That's fun. Okay, on the other side of break, we're going to play Start, Sit, Give the Boot, answer my signature questions, and for the final time of the 2024 season, answer your questions. Don't go anywhere. Some people find comfort in sitting still, but not you. You're born to explore, to seek out adventure, and to live life to its fullest. Discover the Frontier Collection by Justin today. Featuring out-of-the-box comfort and 12 stylish designs, the Frontier Collection is built for those who go the extra mile and get the most out of life. From the saddle to the streets and everywhere in between, the Frontier Collection by Justin is right there with you. For just $199, you can find your Frontier today at justinboots.com. All right, Bees, and speaking of our friends over at Justin Boots, we're going to play Start, Sit, Give the Boot. You told me before this you are quite the avid fisherman when you can be. So we're going to have you start your favorite of these 3 destinations, sit the middle of the pack, and then give the boot to your least favorite. So we have Alaska, the Florida Keys, and Montana.
I would do the Florida Keys first. I'd do Alaska second because I still have aspirations to fish in Alaska to catch those huge salmon. I've got a buddy of mine that does that, and he says we're going to go out there and do it. And so I guess those would be the first 2. Who said Montana?
Yes.
Yeah, Montana.
Okay.
Which Montana I've never been to, but I've heard it's so beautiful. So it's probably some great trout fishing or something out there.
What kind of fishing do you like to do?
I love all types of fishing. I love saltwater, freshwater. I love crappie fishing because that's freshwater. It's kind of lake and freshwater ponds as well. But by the time I get home in the off season, that's kind of what I'm kind of restricted to because it's getting kind of cold to go in the deep sea, and I don't want to get out there. The waters are rough. So, but I love crappie fishing.
Are there any other fishermen in the Rangers clubhouse or staff that you would like to go fishing with?
Yeah, Corey Ragsdale loves fishing. He loves it. Booch Bochy he might be like the epitome of fisherman.
Really?
He absolutely loves it. Yeah, he knows way more about it than me. Now, he's more deep sea, out in the deep ocean fishing, but he knows about all types of fish.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, let's go from fishing to the car for my signature question. So let's say you have to road trip 2,000 miles to Seattle because let's say it was an off day and you, Boach, and Rags were out fishing and you just happened to miss the team plane. Which Rangers player or fellow coach would you want to take the road trip to Seattle with?
You know who I'd like to take it with? You'd probably be surprised, Corey Seager.
Really?
And this is why. Because Corey is ultra focused. And when he gets to the ballpark, like, I don't have a ton of conversation with him. So I would love to, like, have him in an environment outside of baseball where he's not, worried about going and getting his swings or talking to his swing coach or just focusing on just baseball. But just to get to know him as just Corey Seager, just feel free to. And I want to pick his brain about, it's not too many people can say they've been around one of the best hitters in the game.
Absolutely.
And I like to pick his brain about his thought process, just everything, his division, like how he approaches games, at bats, all types of scenarios. He shines in the biggest moments. Like, how do you do that? Like, how do you keep a slow heartbeat? Things like that. I would love to, like, get his mind because, when I'm talking to kids and trying to give kids advice, I think it would be good to be able to have his insight to share as well.
Absolutely. And then let's say it's you, Corey, and a coach. What other coach would you take with you? Someone this season, I forget who it was, but they said you because you could carry a tune really well and you could sing the whole car ride.
That's a good deal. Probably Mike Maddox.
Mad Dog?
Yeah, because he would, any dull moment, he'd pick it up.
I could
He
see
would
that.
pick it up. I mean, he tells stories. Stuff off the top of his head. He can, yeah, and he's like a historical mind. He remembers stuff from way back, and so it'd be interesting, just the three of us, yeah.
That's fun. Okay, so you, Corey, and Mad Dog. I like it. That sounds like quite a fun car ride, Bees. I'm jealous. Okay, now let's jump to some fan submissions. So a lot of these did come from the Tony Beasley Superfan Twitter account. Shocking. I tweeted them after I posted the fan prompt, and I said, this is your time to shine. And they showed up and showed out.
Okay.
So they wanted to know who is the nicest third baseman to talk to on an opposing team.
Well, I'm a little biased with Anthony Rendon because I've known him for a long time. I was in D.C. with him, but he's unbelievably nice. But I love Chapman. I love Chapman. I think Tim was he was in, the last time he was in Toronto. He's not there now. But I love Chapman because when he was in Oakland, we bonded really good. So he's really humble and really nice to talk to. And the thing I like about him, he's the same. Like, if he gets a hit, he'll talk. If he doesn't get a hit, he'll talk. Like, now my favorite guy, he's not playing anymore, was Corsica's brother.
Kyle?
Yeah, Kyle, oh my Lord, that's my favorite guy. We talk the whole game.
Oh, fun.
Oh, he would talk so much that I would be like, Kyle, he's getting ready to throw the pitch. Like, you got to get ready. And his coaches would be like, get ready. And he told me one day that he had a thing with his coaches that if he ever was not ready and it cost him, then he'd pay something, whatever it was.
That's so funny.
So he'd talk up until the last second, then he'd get ready to play defense.
So a little contrast between the Seager brothers in that way.
Yeah, one's a little more quiet than the other. But Corey actually talks more than you think. It's just, we see him more in the focus mode, but he laughs and jokes and talks as well.
I like that. Okay,
but Kyle has the gift of gab. He does.
Kyle Seager, Matt Chapman, Anthony Rendon.
Yes.
And I'm sure you saw Matt Chapman a lot because with the old schedule, the Rangers pretty much played Oakland like every other week. So I'm sure you saw him quite frequently. That's awesome. Okay, moving on to cleats. So what is your favorite pair of cleats that you own? You have some fun ones.
I just had some made. Well, someone got in touch with me through Instagram, and they wanted to make a pair. So they made some. I like the ones I just got from Travis, the World Series ones. Went and took it, but a guy from Oklahoma, it's a younger kid, he made me some shoes. I think his name's Caleb, and he brought them here to me. He just asked me, "What's your favorite sneaker and your size?" And
wow.
I like the Nike Air Maxes, size 10. And he just got an all white pair, and he painted them. Red, white, and blue, but he put like the powder blue color on them as well. He put 27. He put my favorite verse, like 2 Corinthians 5:7, for we walk by faith, not by sight. 2 Corinthians 5:7 is on, I think, the left shoe, and for we walk by faith, not by sight is on the top of the right shoe. And then I partner with USA Hemorrhoidal Society, which is for people to get, because hemorrhoids for me was important as far as finding out detection that I had cancer. And so it's kind of like an early detection thing, and there's a thing called HAY, which is a new procedure to reduce hemorrhoids. So I partnered with that group, so he put their logo on the inside of the shoe. And I don't know, I've got a lot of compliments on those shoes, so those are probably my favorite pair.
Nice. That's really awesome.
Yes.
And so sweet that he went out of the way and made everything and
He didn't have to do it.
customize it. That's
Yes.
wonderful. Okay, who are your top 3 gospel artists? I know that's a huge passion of yours as well. So
Yes,
could you pick your favorite top 3 or even your favorite?
Well, I like Smokey Norfolk because he's kind of like the John Legend of gospel. Like, John Legend's like one of my favorite artists. I like his music because it's mellow. I like the message. And then Smokey Norfolk has similar music, but it's gospel music. It's Christian music. I like that. And then I like some old, like, spiritual groups, like the Canton Spirituals, because I love the old vibe of the gospel groups. And I like, I guess who would my third be? Probably Hezekiah Walker. I like his music as well.
Finally, does the windmill ever stop spinning?
Hopefully not. It hasn't been spinning enough this year. But, sometimes when, say we have like bases loaders or something, I'll just send the guy from first and then I can maybe and I'm doing the whole time. I'm like,
yeah, does your arm ever hurt from all that spinning? I mean, it's a long time.
It doesn't really hurt, but I feel it in my rotator cuff when I stop initially. And I say, man, I felt that one. Because sometimes if you have to really get a guy going at the end, like it's an easy send, okay. But then if it's an urgent send, then you really have to get your arm going. And you don't realize how fast it's going because I'm screaming at the player as he's going by me. It's like, you got to go, you got to go, you got to go, you got to go. And you just waving your arm, I don't know how fast it's going, but you feel that a little bit. But I love that. If it's going to score us runs and a lot of runs, let it fall off.
So there's different spins per second depending on the urgency of the play. I got it. I like that.
Yeah.
What was your favorite windmill spin of the season? Was it Wyatt Langford's inside the park home run? Which one stands out to you the most?
I'm gonna say the inside the Parker because like it was Ellie De La Cruz that got the ball in his hand, and that's Cincinnati because maybe the best arm in baseball, and so I wasn't sure like if he gets off one of his. One of those freakish throws and make a play. And that was like Wyatt's first home run. So I saw an opportunity when the ball kicked and the way Wyatt runs. I was like, well, we got a shot here. So, yeah, I had to really get him going there at the end because I wasn't thinking inside the Parker initially. And then as soon as you see that window open, you really got to get going. And so, yeah, that's my favorite one.
I think everyone in the ballpark when that was happening was everyone was staring at you.
Yeah,
because they're like, are they sending him? Are they not? Is it a triple? What's going on?
You're right.
So
you're right.
That was awesome. Good eye moments for the windmill for sure during that play. That was great.
Thank you.
And it would not be an episode with Tony Beasley without ending things on a Tony Tuesday-esque note. So Bees, what message do you have for fans that could be struggling or just need some encouragement?
Just trust yourself and trust God. And, life can bring things at you, and we have no idea. When we woke up this morning, we have no idea what the day entails. Like, I don't know what's coming my way. I don't know who's going to come at me hard or what scenario, what phone call I could get. We have no idea. But whatever happens today, know that God loves you and that no matter what you go through, then he would never put more on us than we can bear. So I just trust that God will work it out, whatever comes my way today. And I pray every day about that. I ask God to just give me the strength today to just deal with any situation that comes my way, to have an impact on people, to make a difference in people's lives. So, I say just trust God. He's got you. He loves you. He cares about you. He's got a plan and a purpose on your life. You are not just born a mist. You are not. You are not a mistake. You were not. You were born with a plan and a purpose. The Bible says, I knew you even before you in your mother's womb, and I have a plan and a purpose over your life. And he knows us so intimately that he says, the very hairs of your head are numbered. He didn't say, I know the number of hairs that are on your head. He said they're each numbered. So if I pluck one of your beautiful strands of hair out of your head, it has a number to it, and he knows that number. I wouldn't know what it is, but if I pick up a piece of your hair, that's strand number 2,894. God knows that. That's how intimately he knows you. And so if he knows us that intimately, then how great does he love us? And if he loves us, he'll never leave us nor forsake us. So no matter what you go through, just trust God.
Well, Bees, that was beautifully said, and thank you so much for joining me today. This was an incredible conversation that I know will inspire so many, so appreciate your time and your openness.
Thank you, Hannah.
Thank you. That's going to do it for episode 11 and season 1 of Rangers Deep in the Heart, brought to you by Justin Boots, the official boot of the Texas Rangers. I'd love to thank Tony Beasley and all of the other coaches, players, and their families that have given me their time and their openness this season. I'd love to hear back more from you, so please send me your feedback. DM me, message me, email me. I'd love to know your thoughts on the show and who you want to have on for season 2 in 2025. Once again, signing off from Globe Life Fields, I'm Hannah Wing. We'll see you next time.